Hi Stitchy friends, this is Amy and welcome to Harpy Stitch. You might notice I'm in a different location. I am going to be trying to do these once a week while I do my 50 starts for my 50th year. So I am going to be doing them a little bit independently and maybe learning some basic video editing. So things are going to look a little bit different this year. Excuse me. I am wanting to say thank you to people who joined me for my Stitch With Me on the 1st. Welcome to all my new subscribers and thanks to those of you who have come back. I thought for this first video for the new year, I would share my plans for the year, talk about the starts that I've already made and my stitchy challenges that I'm doing. I have said before I'm doing 50 starts for my 50th year. I have them planned out about one a week for the first 52 weeks of the year. I kind of jumped the gun and started most of my ones for January already because I just got really excited. So my plan is with each new start, I'm going to work on it for 2 days. And then work on stitchy challenges. I'm doing 2 of those this year. It is Fandom Central, which is doing Doctor Who and Supernatural. I've got 1 Doctor Who episodes to watch left this week. I don't have access to any of the Supernatural streaming services, so I'm not watching those right now. Magical Stitches is doing Series of Unfortunate Events, and I've read the first couple of books, but I've never finished the series, so I'm looking forward to that. Unfortunately, I don't have access to the TV show either because that is a really fun show. But other than working, I've been stitching a lot, so let's get down to the stitching. If you didn't watch my Stitch With Me on the 1st, let me show you my first start for the year. This is Dragons of the Sabbat, art by Anne Stokes and charted by Paine Free Crafts. It's a retired chart. I have to blame the 310 Stitcher Jade for this one. I deliberately waited to start it because I knew I was going to do this, and I snuck the start in just in time where I still had a month of the Year of the Dragon left. I know in February it will become the Year of the Snake, but I have it on this fabric. It is Creationist Blue by Fabric Flair. It's a printed fabric. Let's see if I can get this up in here where you can see it and still see me. So that is my start. It is just 2 days. I'm doing it 1/1 on 28 count. I have to be very careful because if I pull the thread too hard, it frays really easy because it's just 1 strand, so it doesn't have that extra support of 2 strands. And it takes me, I'm a little bit slower on this count because I have to be more careful not to pull the thread through so that it does that weird thing, you know, when it's only the, if you're doing 1/1 on some of the smaller counts, if you are pulling too hard, it does the, where it pulls under the weave of the fabric and it messes up your stitches. Also, it's a tiny count, so I'm being very careful. You can already start to see the center star. I am ditching the background on that one. I did not want to stitch all that black. I know Jade loves to stitch black, but no, I didn't want to do that much stitching of black. Sometimes I do like a little block of color, but not that much of a block of color. I am just filming this on my phone. I'm not using any software, so I don't know about adding stuff in to edit. We shall see what happens. It might just be me showing you what I've got. My second start for the new year was a Catula Bookmark that was in the world of cross stitching. It was Julieanne. Somebody is the designer. I can't remember her last name at the moment, but it is also my first finish. This is going to be a gift for the person whose room I'm using while I teach night school. She's very much a cat person and a history teacher. So here is Catula by Bram Stoker. Let me get that out of the way. The directions called for the backstitch to all be 1 strand, which worked great for everything but the yellow. I had to go back in and do that 2-stranded just to get the decoration on the book spine to show up. I haven't fully finished it yet. I think I'm going to try to find some self-adhesive felt. Just pop it on the back, trim out both of them at the same time, and wham bam, thank you ma'am, she's done. So yay. My third start for the year was a red panda card kit, also from World of Cross Stitching. I did 2 days on this as well, because that's my goal, is to do 2 days. I admit on the Catula I did way more than 2 days because I was so close to finishing that I was like, might as well finish it up, and I wanted to make sure I got it done before the end of the school year. Sorry, squirrel. But yes, the red panda, it'll have a little ring of flowers, and then it came with a card that you just stick it on, which I'll use some non-acidic double-sided tape that I have. So this won't take me long either. I might take this just with me where I go places, because it's 14 count, easy to stitch on no matter the lighting. Ooh, it's interesting how my lighting changes. My fourth start, I have one more start I'm planning for January, but the stuff is not here for it yet because I changed what I was going to start. But I'll tell you about that in a minute. So this is Non-Binary Zebra by Stitchy Rin, just on a piece of 28 count fabric that I had lying about, left over from another project. I think it was left over from a stocking I did one time. I did the trans zebra version of this for my son-in-law, and I'm doing this for my child. They identify as non-binary, and I thought I didn't have the yellow, but I had bought it. I just hadn't bobbinated it yet. So I will get back to this quickly. This is also being done 1/1, which makes the partial stitches a little tricky on 28 count. Sorry, my cat just bumped the tripod. But no, kitty, you cannot have those. You can come up in my lap if you want. He just went through the legs of the tripod. I apologize for the shaking. So those are my first 4 starts for the year. A friend of mine saw the Seductive Kermit that I finished and begged me to do one for them. So that is going to be my 5th start of the year. But I didn't have the big enough fabric for it, for another piece of black to do it on, because I'm going to ditch the background again. So that'll be my 5th start for the year. I was going to work on something else, and I just adapted. So this year is also my first year doing Whip Go. If you don't know, Whip Go is like a bingo board for your whips. I've chosen 2 projects to focus on this year. They're ones that I love, but because of the count size and everything, sometimes I'm doing them 2/1, and I think the stitches are a little crowded, but I want kind of that painting look. So, and I'm just used to doing stuff 2/1, so that's what I went with. And the stitches are tight, so sometimes it slows me down to get my needle through, and a little bumpy, but once I wash them, that'll kind of work itself out. And people won't be able to tell when they're far enough away, the 3 feet or more that you're supposed to be away when it's finished. So I picked those 2 to focus, and then my third thing I'm focusing on my Whip Go board is fully finishing something. It's another reason I'm waiting on the cat to see if it pops up, because that's an easy fully finish. I know, some of you will probably say that's cheating, but my board, my rules. I also did the same for my 50 for 50. I could not have started 50 giant projects. 1, I don't have the space. And, 2, I wanted to do some of the kits, and it's a way to help me focus on getting some stuff done that I've already started. So, the first thing, well, not the first thing. This is actually my oldest whip, and it is a gift for my child. They grew up being a big Harry Potter fan. They still love the stories. They won't buy anything. And this isn't official merch. My husband was like, did you check with them to make sure they still want this? Because, Rowling, or she who shall not be named, as some people refer to her now. This is the Wisdom Stocking by Hade, art by Cherry Gerhardt. Let me pull it back a little bit. Okay, so I actually have gotten, no, that's right, he's facing me. I have actually gotten quite a bit done in here since the last time I saw it. I did do my 2 days, because my goal for each of these projects is every time they're called, they get 2 days on them. And I have done that, and it was like 652 stitches or something like that. I'm also using it for some prompts, because the year-long challenge for fandom is 25, so it's 2,025 stitches on the 25 projects that you chose. And this is one of those that I'm going to do, so I'm using this for the weekly challenges, and then I'll total up how many stitches I got till I get to 2,025. And then I might continue on it for another different yearly challenge. But you can see this is the central raven crest, head crest, and then this will be a brown raven. And this will be a Christmas stocking for my child to replace the needlepoint one I did when they were little. It won't have their name on it, but the needlepoint one, the canvas is kind of tore up the yarn that I did it in, because it's like 25 years old now. So I thought it would be time, and I started this about 4 years ago, and my husband teases me all the time, "You're never going to finish that." So I'm taking this year to try to get it finished. And I've converted to Pattern Keeper, at least for my big projects. This one is not going to be, because I'm way too far along. I am not trying to go put that in Pattern Keeper. But I started Dragons of the Sabbat on it. And when I went to the next one that I'm about to show you yesterday, I started trying to stitch on it from my highlighted pattern. And it was just like, my brain was like, what of these, if I actually stitched, where does this go? And so I didn't get as much stitching done on this as I wanted to, because I spent most of yesterday and part of this morning moving the 500 stitches or so, I think it was 700 and something, that I had already stitched into Pattern Keeper, which I finished up this morning before work. I wasn't sure that was going to happen. So this is Cliffhanger by Amy Stewart. It is not much farther than when I started it for my New Year, New Start last year, because so many other things. And again, it's a very tight fit. But this is, all of these stitches are now in Pattern Keeper. I know I'm evil. I didn't take it out of the hoop, but that's because I'm going to work on it right after this video. You might be wondering, how do you know what end is up? Well, when I'm not working on a piece, I do another bad thing that a lot of people consider a bad thing for cross stitchers. I leave my needle in it, and if it's something sploochy like this where you can't tell what end is up, I always put my needle at the top so I know. And then when I've got it in the hoop, I always make sure that the top is toward the latch of the hoop, and that helps me. So if I just set it down, so that's my plan. I haven't gotten 2 days on this, so I'll do 2 days on this. It's also going to be used for my last 2 weeklies. I have 1 episode of Doctor Who left to watch today for a Stitchy challenge. As soon as my order from 123 Stitch gets in with my thread and my fabric for my second Seductive Kermit, I will start on that. That I might prioritize a little bit more because it has been asked. Somebody asked me to make it for them, so that might be pushed up. I do have on the go a new Shawshank sampler. I started it during December. I wanted to get a little ahead so that I wouldn't need to use one of my start slots for a commission. And my goal is to just get like a couple of letters done at a time until, you know, it's done. I have been working on, for one of my Stitchy groups, I did start working on Rare Horrorflies again, which I'm also about to show you. Since you last saw it, I finished part 4 here. I still love this fabric, and I want more of it to get put other gorgeous things. There's a few fancy ladies that I think would be gorgeous on this fabric. Sorry, again, a squirrel. And then here is the beginning of part 5 that I started. So that's all the Stitchy stuff I've got for you. I'm going to be watching a lot of Doctor Who if I can find... Sorry, my cat's being naughty. Kitty, get down before you hurt yourself on the fan. Thank you. We put a table in our area over here that's by the treadmill. So now he jumps from the table to the treadmill and on top of the shelving that we have over there. And sometimes he looks like he's going to jump at the fan, which would not be good. But he hasn't done it yet. He just looks at it. So what I'm going to do is they should be posting my next round of weekly Stitch challenges today sometime. The password won't be up till tomorrow for fandom. So my plans for the next week are to do my weekly stitches first. If I finish those, then I will work on some monthly challenges for both Magical Stitches and fandom. And I know I could probably use, because it's the same number of stitches, the same project and the same stitches for both, but I like to not double up because I want to get as many stitches in as possible. Again, for those who have subscribed since my last video, thank you so much. For those of you who are still here and hanging out with me when I do these, hopefully they'll be more regular this year. We'll see if I add any pictures. I have to see if there's an easy way to do that. I might not do it this time. I might do it in the future. So I am really excited about my 50 starts for my 50th year. We finally got some real snow, so it actually looks like winter instead of just brown grass everywhere. I don't enjoy driving in it, but I do like watching it fall outside and looking out my window and seeing pretty white stuff. I will not feel that way if it's still here in May, but right now I'm really glad. It's like, what's the point of freezing my butt off if there's no snow? You know, it's like, if I'm not going to have snow, it should be warmer. But that's just me. Well, that's all I've got for you today. I hope today was better than yesterday and tomorrow is better than today. See you later. Bye-bye.